Good morning, everybody. It is Friday. Happy Friday to everybody out there. It is Friday, August the 6th, 2021, 12:03 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. My name's Dave McRae, coming to you live from the VoiceMann Studios in Toronto, Canada. This is episode 198 of McRae Live. And today I just want to peruse the movie news. Horror movie news. We'll go over to bloodydisgusting.com and see what kind of stuff tickles our fancy over there. What kind of stuff tickles our fancy over there? Let's do it. Let's go over to the other screen. This is bloodydisgusting.com, and I'm just going to go through and see if anything I find interesting that maybe I want to talk about. I don't know. Here we go. This is 10 minutes ago. Well, this is 10 minutes ago it's probably not 10 minutes ago. Candyman, Yahya Abdul-Mateen, I believe, the second, Vanessa Williams, and more tease this month's franchise relaunch. It's a video. Let's check this out. This might be interesting. Let's check this out. What do we got going on here? We recently shared Candyman interviews with both director Nia DaCosta and co-writer producer Jordan Peele. And today we've got some more video chats to share with you. The videos you'll find below feature interviews, snippets. Okay, well, I can't play the video. I don't want to get a copyright on it, whatever. Well, but what do they say here? The cast talks about working with Jordan Peele and Nia DaCosta on the film, while also previewing the characters we'll be meeting later this month in the brand new franchise sequel. Quote, what I really love about what this film does, the updated Say My Name version of it, is that it really talks about so many the politic of the day. Explains Vanessa Williams, who reprises the role of Anne-Marie McCoy from the original film. Gentrification, I guess is how you might say that. What it means to be an artist, what it means to have a place in the world. Candyman is driven by his need for his story to be told. And so I think all these things resonate with us as an audience. It's not just about an entertainment value. It's about making something that's important. Now, for some of you out there, you may be going, oh God, here we go. But this should not come as a surprise to you. Okay, it should not. Now, again, it's not that, listen, I don't believe every single movie out there needs to have social commentary. I don't believe every single movie out there needs to have a message built into it. Sometimes people are just bad and they just fuck shit up. And sometimes you just want to watch a movie where it's just somebody fucking shit up and there's no rhyme or reason for it. Yeah, but what does it mean? Nothing. No, but what's the overall arc? Nothing. No, but what is it? Nothing. So it's just a guy fucking shit up? Yeah, it's just a guy fucking shit up. So he just kidnapped them for no reason? No, he kidnapped them because he wanted to fucking fuck shit up and murder them. That's it. Nothing. No, that's it. Nothing. Listen, sometimes those movies are good and we need those films. We need films we can just check out and just enjoy the mystique and the mystery of just the unknown. There's no reason. You're not trying to say something. You don't have some sort of message you're trying to say, right? I get it. However, we are in a hot button time now, and this is, produced. It's Jordan Peele. And if there's one thing we know about, now I'm not saying that the movie's going to be bad. I'm just saying that you can expect when Jordan Peele, and he has basically said this, when he gets involved in projects, he doesn't get involved in projects that he cannot help drive change and social commentary. And look at his, The Twilight Zone. I mean, it may or may not have been one of the reasons why it didn't really last. I have no issues with social commentary. I don't. But it's got to be subtext. It can't be beating you over the fucking head like a pretentious douchebag. That's what nobody likes to be preached to. Nobody likes to be coddled and handheld and spoken to like you're a fucking idiot. You know what I mean? Nobody likes that. Whether you are a fucking idiot or not, nobody likes to be talked to like you are a fucking idiot. You may be a fucking idiot, but nobody likes to be talked to as if they are. So, if you really want to get a message across, the best way to do it is subtext, nuance, subliminal, let the audience present something that's there, but let the audience fill in those gaps. That's the best way to do it, you know? And I would imagine, you know, that hopefully they haven't lost the, you know, the entertainment value here. And I'm not saying they have. I'm harping on this right now because I knew the second that I read this, some people would be rolling their eyes going, oh God, here we go. Right? There's just, but it's Jordan Peele. You know, and if there's one thing we know about him is that his new movie that he's got coming out next year or whatever it is, Nope, right? Nope. You're fooling yourself if you think there's not going to be some social commentary message angle to that as well. Of course, that's just what he wants to do. He has made it very apparent that when he makes a movie, he wants to hire black actors. He wants to go, and not that he shouldn't, but I'm just saying you will see in most of his movies moving forward that it'll just be either an all-black cast or the starring leads will be black and whatever. And that's his right to do it. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I actually think that's the way you should do it. Write films where you can give these opportunities to people that may not have those opportunities otherwise. I fully support that. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I'm just getting ahead of it because I know that just reading that, there are people out there that are going to take this and go, oh, here we go. I'm just going to see it in the comment section, long diatribes of all this stuff, and just, this is the reality, okay? Jordan Peele's attached. That doesn't mean the movie's not going to be good, but you're fooling yourself if you think there isn't going to be a message, you know, hopefully woven into the horror film that is still there about, you know, whatever, well, what we're reading here, right? That's going to be there. It's a Jordan Peele film. He's not directing it, but you also have a black woman who's directing it. So it's like, guys, like, you know, let's, you know, they see this as an opportunity to deliver a message, and they're going to do it. It's not that they do it, it's how they do it. It's all in the execution. I'm all for, you know, delivering an important message, but nobody likes to be beaten over the head, Black Christmas 2019, you know, as if we're pretentious douchebags who don't know our asses from our elbows. That's not how you do it, you know, in my opinion. Right? If you got something to say and something that's really important, that's great. And if you want to capitalize on the opportunity that's happening right now in the world to really send a message to people, I think that's great. I don't think there's anything wrong with that in and of itself, but it can't be, you know, you can't be beating people over the head like, you know, we have the IQ of a turnip. You know what I mean? Like, you know, you have to, you know, you got to be careful. So we'll see. Anyways, I just wanted to say that. I just wanted to get out in front there. I just wanted to say that. Okay. Just wanted to say that and get out in front. Because, you know, you gotta because there are people out there that, you know, will think otherwise. And if you know your Candyman history and you've watched the original Candyman and you know the lore, this shouldn't come as a surprise to you, right? It's a mythology and a history that is largely, you know, steeped in this kind, not steeped. I should say that there's more of an opportunity with this kind of social commentary with Candyman than the average person might think. Like, go back and watch that original movie and go back. The opportunities are there. Anyways, I'm just getting ahead of it because when you do the YouTube thing and you talk about this kind of stuff, it's a hot button issue for some people and they start losing their minds. Okay. So I'm just saying, let's fucking grow up. Okay. I'm really excited to see Candyman, by the way. Can't wait to see this fucking movie. So yeah, and then they said here, making something that's going to cause you to think, to have conversations. Yahul Abdul Mateen II notes, I think I'm saying that right. We're trying to do something that's going to be classy, that's going to really stand the test of time, and that's going to be important to the zeitgeist of right now. You can watch these and other Candyman video interviews below in this year's Candyman. And then it goes on there and whatever, and there are the interviews. So, yeah, check it out when you get an opportunity. Very cool indeed. Very cool indeed. Let's go back here and see what other news we got going down. So that was the Candyman thing. Fantastic Fest returns with killer lineup that includes Neon's Times, A24's Lamb, and Fantastic Fest. That's the film festival. Fascinating. Okay, what do we got here? Trailer. There's a trailer for some film called Aftershocks. Update arriving next month for The Walking Dead. don't care. Tailgate is, tailgate is a combustible Dutch road ranger, excuse me. Rager. Road Rager. This is going to be good. I like this. What do we got here? Horrors Elsewhere is a reoccurring column that spotlights a variety of movies from all around the globe, particularly those not from the United States. Fears may not be universal, but fears are universal for sure. Fears may not be universal, but one thing is for sure, a scream is understood always and everywhere. Fascinating. So what do we got here? Load will cringe. I don't know how you say that. Tailgate starts out in the remote Dutch countryside. In the dreadful yet scenic cold open, a terrified bicyclist flees. Wait a minute. Is this the? You know what? I think I've heard of this movie. If this is the movie I'm thinking it is, I think I've heard of this movie. Anyway, sorry. Sorry about that. A terrified bicyclist flees a deceptively genteel man known only as Ed William DeWolf. The daunting stranger runs the panicked cyclist off the road with his white, nondescript Volkswagen Caddy before proceeding to shove the business end of a pressurized sprayer into the victim's mouth. I literally thought he was going to say... As I was reading that, I thought it was going to be the daunting stranger runs the panicked cyclist off the road with his white, nondescript Volkswagen Caddy before proceeding to shove the business end of a pressurized sprayer into his rectal cavity. Wow, that would have gone in a whole totally different direction. Sprayer into the victim's mouth, clad in exterminator gear. Ed finally dispenses a direct dose of chemical discipline for reasons unknown. Yeah, I think I've heard of this movie. I think I've heard of this film. Okay, wow. Holy snap and crap. The remainder of Tailgate's focus on Hans and his family as they make their way to see the grandparents. The stress of the trip irks Hans before they even leave. He ignores his mother's phone calls that morning and constantly snaps at wife Diana and their two young daughters, Milieu and Robin, I guess, maybe that's how you say that. Once they hit the road, everything from the flow of traffic to the children arguing over tablet time cranks up the tension. The audience is now trapped in this Volvo with a temperamental father, a passive-aggressive mother, and two spoiled brats. Well, the woman's face. This might be interesting. I'm curious to see this. This is either going to be really good or just don't care. I don't think there's going to be an in-between with this one. And by the way, if you want to check out these articles in depth yourself, just head over to bloodydisgusting.com. Because I'm not going to be reading like every single thing. I'm perusing. I'm sifting through of what interests me. But this is fascinating. Guys, maybe this is your next big slasher right here. Maybe this is your next big slasher right here. Right here. Maybe this is it. The next big slasher. Maybe this is it. Can you imagine? This is it. I'm going to take a pressure washer and jam it into your ass. Okay, well, that's cool. There you have it, folks. Fascinating. Tailgate. What do we got here? Ooh, psychological horror Bleed With Me has a single white female vibe. Ooh, single white female is really good. Bleed With Me. Amelia Moses, I think. Psychological horror Bleed With Me has a new poster that fuses two minds ahead of its release next week, August 10th, across all Canadian digital platforms. Is this a Canadian movie? Oh, I'll check it out. iTunes, Bell, Bell, that's up here. Shaw, TELUS, Rogers, and Cineplex. That's all Canadian. Via Raven Banner releasing. Canadian. Bleed With Me follows Rowan, Lee Marshall, a vulnerable young woman who begins to believe that her friend, Lauren Beatty, is stealing her blood during their winter getaway in an isolated cabin. You can't get more Canadian than that, I guess. Rowan, a vulnerable outsider, is thrilled when the seemingly perfect Emily invites her on a winter getaway to an isolated cabin in the woods. Trust soon turns to paranoia when Rowan wakes up with mysterious incisions on her arm. Quote, haunted by dreamlike visions, Rowan starts to suspect that her friend is drugging her and stealing her food. No, blood. Well, maybe for food. She's paralyzed by the fear of losing Emily, but she must fight back before she loses her mind. Here's the trailer as well. Ooh. I'm very curious if this is a Canadian film. It must be. I don't understand why they would make that angle with it at the top here. Fascinating. I'll have to check it out. I'll check with Bruce, actually, and see if they supplied the gear for it. He'd probably be able to tell me. Bleed With Me. Ooh, okay. Well, again, I don't want to get a copyright ding here, so I'm not going to watch the trailer. But if you guys want to watch a trailer, I will watch the trailer after the show's done today because I want to check that out. All right, that has me curious. You got me curious. What else we got here? SK Tours, that's Stephen King, of Maine invites you to Stephen King's Dominion, the Losers Club podcast. That is Stephen King's home in Bangor, Maine. Now, I remember in 1996, what? Horror Guy says, I think Dave is lying about having a girlfriend. Together for 10 years and don't even live together? Sounds like a lie to me. No, I have a girlfriend. We don't live together because of just a choice. We really enjoy sort of having our separate places. But I posted photos of her in the past. But she's somebody that, wants to, like it's our private life, right? There are some people that are very, she supports me in my career and in my life. She's a terrific woman. But she is not into the YouTube thing and being online and all that kind of jazz. So she would rather just kind of remain, you'll see photos of her if I think there's a photo of her. I think there's a photo of her with her and I on the red carpet at Warner Brothers. Like she, you'll see things like that. But in terms of like coming on my channel or being out and taking photos and posting them all over social media, it's just not her thing. And I respect that. And I respect it's the privacy of our relationship. There's my public life and then there's my private life, and she's part of my private life. So, but no, she's as real as can be. She's as real as can be. All right. SK Tours. Yeah. So I remember in Bangor, Maine, I went to a wedding in 1996. I was 17 and it was my then stepsister. Now, obviously my dad has passed and my former stepmother has also passed. So they're not really step siblings anymore. And that's a whole other thing. But anyway, but my stepsister at the time was getting married. So we went down to Bangor, Maine. She was a teacher there and she was marrying, I think another teacher actually. And it was my first time, not my first time in the States, but certainly my first time on that far east in terms of being in the States. And it was great. And we went over on one of the, I can't remember if it was before or after. I can't remember if it was before or after the wedding, but we went over to see his house. And I kid you not, Stephen King was there. Do you see this this balcony here? Well, when you stand on this road here, he's got a big iron fence that goes across. And he's got these two big, like, gargoyle bats kind of thing. It's really, really cool. And we were standing there, and we weren't the only ones. And Stephen King, I kid you not, Stephen King and his wife, I think his wife's name's Tabitha, if I'm not mistaken. I think his wife's name's Tabitha. Anyway, he was sitting there on a chair. He was sitting on a fucking chair. Because this is like a port, like, I guess, I don't know how he got out there, maybe through here or something. I don't know. But he was sitting on a chair there. Oh, and you knew it was him. And people were like, eh. And he waved. It was totally him. 100%. 100%. He had the fucking glasses and everything. It was great. Anyway, that's the first and only time I've been to Bangor, Maine. So, I don't know. Yeah, Tabitha says, nice name. Yeah, I'm pretty sure. I stand to be corrected, but I'm pretty sure his wife's name is Tabitha. But I'm not 100%. We'll see. The standpipe, the cemetery, the jade, the gates, the world of Stephen King is vast and infinite, and at least on paper. In reality, King's dominion is nestled snugly within Bangor, Maine, the third largest city in the seaside state and arguably the greatest source for tourism. Yeah, not surprising. I mean, that's why most of, I don't know about all, but a lot of Stephen King books and stories are based in Maine. And then, of course, there's the fictional town of Derry. Derry doesn't really exist, but Derry is in Maine, right? So, after all, thousands of constant readers descend upon the New England town each year in the hopes of finding King's own stomping grounds. Maybe this is about this, I'm not sure. But Stephen King, I read, I don't know how many years ago, maybe not that long ago, that he was actually selling his house in Bangor, Maine, this house right here, and he was going to turn it into a museum. And it was going to become like a Stephen King museum. I heard something about that. I mean, the guy's rich beyond belief. Like, he was going to sell his home. He's lived there for decades. He was going to sell his home, and I don't know if he was going to remain in Maine or move somewhere else and like retire or whatever. But I don't know if this article is about that. Maybe it is. But I remember hearing something about them turning this into a museum. Anyway. After all, thousands of constant readers descend upon the New England town each year in the hopes of finding King's own stomping grounds. Over the past decade, SK Tours of Maine has helped them find answers on their journey, turning their imaginations into a family memory. Today, SK Tours guide James Tinker, joins Michael Rothman and Jen Adams to discuss the origins of his family's tour. Oh, okay, no, it's that. Share some hilarious local stories involving King and describe what it was like growing up in what is essentially Derry, Maine. Spoiler, it was spooky. Yeah, essentially, yeah, it's true. Want to experience the tour yourself? Book early. Stream the episode below. And stay tuned next week for a 35th anniversary deep dive into Rob Reiner's Stand By Me. Oh, cool. I might have to tune into that. With special guest Dan Mangan. I think is how you say that. There's a couple ways I think you could say that. Again, that's it's the voice actor in me when I see shit like that. I think it's Mangan. Mangan? It could be a soft G. Mangan. For further adventures, join the club over long days and pleasant nights via Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Radio Public, and so on and so forth, and blah, 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 blah. Oh, there's the podcast there. Well, this is cool. Okay, so this isn't what I thought it was going to be. Ooh, the Christine car. This isn't what I thought it was going to be, but I'm pretty sure I did hear something about, again, I don't know if it's happened yet or if COVID-19 kind of put a wrench in things, and obviously King was like, I'm just going to stick around here for a while. But I'm pretty sure I heard something about him selling the house and moving and turning this into a museum. I've heard something about that, but we'll see. We will see, ladies and germs. We will see. All right. Jacob Italian stars as Reginald the Vampire and sci-fi adaptation. Don't give a shit. John Carpenter. Ooh. What do we got here? Oh, that's actually a cool. It's kind of like what the fuck? Has he copied my avatar? The fuck is going on? John! My invoice is in the mail. My invoice is in the mail. I'm looking for an excuse to come from. Yeah, I've heard about this. I don't really care. Dave, you're not clicking on it? It's John Carpenter. Yeah, I don't give a shit. There's a polka dot man in all of us, David. Excuse me, National Machine walks us through the history of the Suicide Squad character. Don't care. Netflix announces that Stranger Things will return in 2022. Watch a short promo teaser. Stranger Things. Yeah, I did see this earlier. Stranger Things. Stranger Adults. This past July marked 2 years since the third season of Stranger Things premiered on Netflix, with pandemic delays forcing the upcoming fourth season to be pushed to an unknown date. Filming is nearly complete on season 4, and now we have a better idea of when to expect it. Announced this morning, season 4 will premiere sometime next year. No shit. I mean, if you're wrapping up season 4 now, chances are it's probably going to premiere sometime next year. All right. I mean, what a fucking nothing burger this is. If you don't have a fucking date, who gives a shit? Like, who cares? Like, I mean, if you're wrapping up filming right now, where filming is going to be complete within like the next, 4 to 6 weeks, let's say, I would expect it would be next year. It would not make any sense for it to be 2023. I would expect it to be next year. This is nothing. Give me a date. Spring 2022. We're aiming for spring. We're aiming for summer. Fall, something. 2022. It's a nothing burger. You can watch a 30-second teaser, which is nothing, by the way. Video for season 4 of Stranger Things below, which mostly features clips from past seasons. Yep. Along some sneak peeks from the new season. Definitely. It's hard cuts, very fast, but it's there. Fresh from season 4, we're treated to glimpses of Eleven and Hopper with a flamethrower. 11, and Hopper with a flamethrower. Not 11 and Hopper with a flamethrower. It's just Hopper with a flamethrower. Anyway. Along with a group shot featuring Steve, Dustin, Max, Robin, Nancy, and Lucas. The short teaser video concludes with a shot of the kids back on their bikes, calling back to the first season that made us fall in love with this group of characters in the first place. Warm, happy feelings. Check out the teaser below and expect more soon. What we know of season 4 thus far is that Hopper is still alive, imprisoned far from home in the snowy wasteland of Kamchatka, maybe? It's Russian, obviously. Dave, you did not say it correct. Okay, sorry about that. Where he will face dangers both human and other. Meanwhile, back in the States, a new horror is beginning to surface. Something long buried. Something that connects everything. Okay. Season 4 is shaping up to be the biggest and most frightening season yet, and we cannot wait for everyone to see more. The Duffer Brothers had said back in February last year. So 18 months ago. This season's cast includes Robert Englund, who will play Victor Creel. That's such a great name, Victor Creel. He looks like a Victor Creel. A disturbed man who is imprisoned in a psychiatric hospital for a gruesome murder in the 1950s. Yeah, that's a good role for Robert. Good job. Good job on the writing. That's a good role for Robert for sure. And there they are. So, yeah, check it out. I mean, I like the show. Obviously, the 80s nostalgia as a young boy growing up through the 80s, I can relate. So certainly that's, certainly my very young childhood. I mean, obviously I was a teenager in the 90s, but the 80s, I was a young boy, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, So certainly I appreciate the show. I really love season 1. I still think season 1 is their best season, no doubt. I think season 2 is not as good as season 1. I think season 3 is probably better than season 2, but still not as good as season 1. I don't think they'll ever recapture it. I think the mystery of a boy going missing was just brilliant, and just the whole town and not knowing what's happening. And, you weren't really sure. It was just, it was new. It was different. It could have been great as just a one-off 8-episode miniseries. But it is always fun to revisit these characters because these characters are, by and large, fascinating and fun. And we like the characters and we enjoy seeing them. I'm curious because obviously at the end of season 3, people have moved out of Hawkins. And And it's about fucking time. I mean, you wouldn't stay in... I'm very curious to see how much Hawkins plays a role in this season. Because it's like, you would just move away. Hawkins would become a ghost town. If this shit is happening in Hawkins and only in Hawkins, well, then you'd move out. You'd move out and then Hawkins would become a ghost town. And maybe that's what happens. Maybe that's what eventually happens. I don't know. I know there's talk about having a season 5. Like, I mean, you better start shooting it now. You know, like, I don't know. I don't want to see 20 somethings, you know, because then they're going to get like, I've said this before, but the thing that works so well with the first season is it's kids being kids. And when you're a kid of that age, when you're like 11, 12, it's not that you can't find a girl cute or whatever the case is. And it's not that there aren't kids that aren't, you know, that aren't virgins at 12. But, you know, by and large, you're a virgin, you know, you're 11 or 12, you know, you might have a crush on a girl, but the whole adultness when you hit like 17, 18, 16, 19, 20, you know, you're into other things. Other things take over your life, primarily the opposite sex, right? And the only thing you give a shit about is whether or not the girl likes you or whether or not the guy likes you. It becomes your entire world. You know what I mean? And you start caring about other things, you know, finishing high school, what college am I going to go to? And I understand that if there was a whole fucking scenario, you know, invading your life like this, obviously that may fall by the wayside, but we start to see a little that teen angst in season 3. And it makes sense that we would see that kind of stuff. And I'm all for that, but I don't want this to turn into a Beverly Hills 90210. You know, like it's just, there's something to be said about the innocence of childhood and the naivety of childhood that I think works so well for a Goonies or a Monster Squad or a Stranger Things. I don't know so much if it works when you're, you know, 24, you know, or 23. It just feels strange, no pun intended. And these, I mean, obviously they're going to be playing kids that are younger, but I forget the gentleman's name here. This guy here, I forget his name, but when you look up his age, like he's like 19, you know. Finn Wolfhard, who doesn't appear in here, I thought for a minute that Nancy was Finn Wolfhard because I think they have the same hair. But Finn is like, yeah, he's like 19. I mean, they're all that age now, practically. So what's season 5 going to be? Are you going to wait another year? Is season 5 going to start shooting in 2023 for a 2024 release? And then they're going to be like 23, 24, like, and I'm not saying it can't work. It's all in the execution. It's all in the story. I'm not saying it can't work. I just think the reason why Stranger Things was so successful, so endeared, and so beloved is because of the childhood innocence and naivety. It was going back to that sweetness, childhood, not worrying about all the bullshit that comes with being a young adult. And you can't ignore that. Like, although when you go into season 4 and you go maybe to season 5, you can't ignore, you know, I mean, it doesn't have to be the focus, but you can't ignore it. You know, I mean, are we going to see, you know, Mike and 11 have sex? You know what I mean? I mean, that's coming, you know, no pun intended, you know, but it's eventually going to happen. You know, you would think that they would get together and, you know, they're getting to that age, you know, I mean, it's already there. And, you know, are we going to see, I mean, once they're both over 18, in theory, now creatively, it would be up to the creators. But if the actors are over the age of 18 and the characters in the show are also over the age of 18, you could totally show them having a sex scene. I'm not saying that Finn and Millie Bobby Brown would be comfortable with that, but if they are of legal age, you could show that. You could totally show that. And it's like, do we want to see that? You know, like, you know, it feels strange. Again, no pun. And I'm not saying that they're going to do that, but I'm just saying that there are other things that are going to have to be part of these young adult lives to make it feel realistic, to make it feel real, you know? And I just think that I always thought that you could get 4 seasons out of it. The Duffer Brothers at one time talked about 6. And I'm like, 6, what are they gonna be, 30? Like, what the fuck are we doing here? I think just get out when the going's good, wrap it up, fucking wrap it up with, I don't think they're gonna wrap it up with season 4, because I think they have talked about with them wrapping it up with 5 seasons, and maybe they have it mapped out. Look, if they have it mapped out, they have a direction they're going, season 4 and 5 could be fucking amazing, and it could feel organic, and it doesn't feel weird or strange, at all. I'm not saying it's definitely going to be that. I'm just saying, as a fan of the show, as a creator myself, that's what I think of. When I think of moving the story along over seasons, COVID didn't help. I mean, they essentially lost a year. And when you're 16 years old, you grow like a weed in a year. So we've essentially lost a year. And it's kind of like, I just don't want to lose the charm of the show. And I think it is already losing that, because the kids are getting older. The kids are young adults now, Now, is it cool to see that arc with the same actors, to see them grow on screen? That is cool. That's always cool, right? To see them grow on screen. But when you start with kids, like take sitcoms, right? When you watch sitcoms, kids are always so sweet and charming. But if the sitcom lasts for 8 years and you watch a child grow up on TV, the kids are never as fucking cute or as charming as they are at 18 when they were like 8. Do you know what I mean? Yeah, no, not usually. No, but is it cool? Would it be cool to see them grow up and to see them go through? They have to write it in. They have to write it as part. They can't ignore it. And because it's going to stand out like a sore thumb, but in not ignoring it and acknowledging it, how much do they acknowledge it? How much does it become part of the subplot and the subtext? The teen angst, the teen drama, how much of that, do we, because you can't ignore it. It's got to be there, but you don't want it to also overshadow the whole other thing that's going on, which is the mystery and the adventure and all that kind of stuff. So hopefully the Duffer Brothers are smart enough to, and I have no reason to believe that they're not, that they're smart enough to have that balance. And we'll see. But interesting nonetheless. I'm looking forward to seeing it. I mean, I've enjoyed the show, but I still don't think anything beats season 1 as far as I'm concerned. What do we got? Guns N' Roses just released the first new music with Slash since 1993. Wow, really? Okay, well, I don't really care about Guns N' Roses. I don't hate Guns N' Roses, but cool. But I mean, that headline says it all if you want to check it out on there. Upcoming horror game. Band edition combines Lynch and Cronenberg with disturbing results. Speak and Talk, I think, no, what is that? Spec. For some reason, I read that as Speak and Talk, but it's not. Spec.tackle? Is that how you say that? I don't know how you fucking say that. Weird. Okay, maybe it's a game that I don't know about. Fantasia review. Brian Freeze thaws out zombie formula with smart commentary and humor. Don't care. Candyman, Nia DaCosta. Okay, well, we essentially were talking about that earlier. Dive down the rabbit hole with 6 of the best conspiracy horror films. Well, that right there. Oh no, I think that's. Well, one of the films I really love is. Oh God, I'm getting an advertising, and thank you, Freddie. Dive down. Okay, the 6 best conspiracy horror films. Conspiracy theories can be dangerous when taken at face value, especially now that the internet has made it hard for some folks to tell the difference between legitimate information and paranoid rambling. However, when used as a storytelling tool, conspiratorial thinking can also serve as a reminder about the merits of questioning authority and fighting back against an unfair status quo. The rebellious spirit is likely the reason why these theories have inspired so many great movies, from alien abductions to secret societies manipulating world events from behind the scenes. Paranoid narratives often lead to great storytelling, and that's why we've decided to come up with at least 6 of the best conspiracy horror movies. After all, it can occasionally be fun to put on the proverbial tinfoil hat and dive down a conspiratorial rabbit hole. I could not agree more, by the way. Naturally, there are several great movies that didn't quite make the cut. Everything from William Friedkin's Bug to John Carpenter's They Live. So don't forget to share your own favorites with us in the comments below. And remember, the weirder, the better. Hey, I'm going to take a page out of Bloody Disgusting's book, and I'm going to say to you guys, if you're watching after the fact or you're watching live, after the show's done, comment below and let me know your favorite conspiratorial films. Number 6, Pi. Assuming that's how you say that. Pi. 1998. Ooh, Pi. Math is already terrifying enough, deepening on how well you did in high school. But Darren Aronofsky's Pi is notable for turning one of humanity's most rational concepts into the basis for a thrilling descent into madness. Madness. Featuring a down on his luck mathematician who discovers a mystical sequence of numbers. Audiences are soon thrown into a mysterious world of stock market manipulation, divine inspiration, and Jewish prophecies. Fascinating. Okay, cool. The X-Files, Fight for the Future, 1998. You can't talk about conspiracies without bringing up the X-Files, so it's no surprise that the show's big screen spinoff made it onto the list. Fight for the Future may technically be a bridge between the series' 5th and 6th seasons, but it also works as a standalone investigation where Mulder and Scully attempt to expose a plot between extraterrestrials and a secret society hell-bent on subjugating humanity. You'll probably enjoy the movie a lot more if you're already familiar with the source material, but casual viewers will still likely appreciate the film's dedication to using nearly all of the best conspiracy tropes in a single story. Cool. Number 4, The Vast of Night, 2019. Oh, shit, I want to see this movie. I've been wanting to see this movie. Thank you, Bloody Disgusting, for reminding me. I have been wanting to see this movie, The Vast of Night. Yes, I've been wanting to see this movie. With post-war With post-war paranoia and secretive government investigations like Project Blue Book, the 1950s were a golden age of conspiracy theories. That's why Andrew Patterson's slow burn, that's why I wanted to see it. Basically, you could just say, that's why Andrew Patterson's Dave McRae mystery film, basically, you just fucking put in my name there. Mystery film, The Vast of Night, works so well as a lovingly retro period piece, telling the story of a DJ and switchboard operator who stumble on an unexplainable audio frequency in New Mexico. The film takes us on a surprisingly intimate ride through classic sci-fi tropes. Some audiences may be put off by the film's deliberate pacing and subtle approach to science fiction. Well, that's because we live in a world now where it's too slow. It's boring. I don't get it. I want blood, guts, and gore all the time. Shut up. Anyway. Some audiences may be put off by the film's deliberate pacing and subtle approach to science fiction, but I think that Patterson's restraint in revealing the true nature of the forces behind the mysterious signal is precisely what makes this such a compelling thriller. And Darren Sand says, great movie. Yes! I gotta check this out. Project Avalanche, 2016. I remember this. Being one of the most notable events in human history, it's not surprising that the moon landing also became the source of countless conspiracy theories. While a number of books and movies have suggested that Armstrong's giant leap for mankind was part of an elaborate hoax, Matt Johnson's found footage oddity, Project Avalanche, is by far the most convincing and entertaining of these conspiratorial yarns. I love it. Chronicling the misadventures of a group of CIA agents attempting to convince their bosses that they can fake the moon landing in the real... Excuse me, let me try that again. I was reading ahead of myself. I was so excited. Chronicling the... Take a swig of water. Here we go. Boop. Dave, can we do that again? Yes, we can. Chronicling the misadventures of a group of... A group of CIA agents, that's what I'm trying to say, chronicling the misadventures of a group of CIA agents, attempting to convince their bosses that they can fake the moon landing if the real project doesn't get off the ground. Project Avalanche is the most believable found footage period piece out there. It may not be particularly scary, But the film is even more impressive when you consider that Johnson and his crew managed to convince NASA that they were producing a legitimate documentary, allowing for several scenes shot within their real facilities. I remember reading about this. Now that's commitment to realism. Ooh. Number 2, The Conspiracy. Not too on the nose or anything. 2012. Ooh, I like that shot though. Ooh, the bull with horns, very symbolic. Another found footage flick, Christopher McBride's The Conspiracy, is inspired by the real Bohemian Grove footage that leaked back in 2000. By Alex Jones, that's me. I leaked it. I leaked it. For those who don't remember, the amateur video sparked rumors that world leaders routinely gather in a private club, well, they do, to participate in occult rituals and plan a new world order. Well, okay, planning a new world order is up for debate, but it is not up for debate that world leaders gather half naked in the woods and have these weird rituals. Like that's kind of out there now. That is true. Thanks, ironically, to Alex Jones. Anyway, while possibly conducting human sacrifice. The details of this particular conspiracy theory obviously sound a bit absurd when you say them out loud, but they do make for a fun, scary movie dealing with secret societies and the horrors of human sacrifice. It's not a perfect experience, but I'd recommend The Conspiracy to both conspiracy nuts and casual horror fans looking for some paranoid thrills. Jacob's Ladder, 1990. That's a great movie. Yep, that's a great movie. Influencing everything from Silent Hill to The X-Files and even Rick and Morty episodes, Jacob's Ladder is one of the most important horror films to come out of the 90s. Naturally, this chilling tale about a Vietnam veteran. Vietnam. Well, you can say Vietnam, but it sounds so like ghetto. Tale about a Vietnam veteran being haunted by demonic visions as he leads a double life was itself inspired by real stories of unethical military projects like the infamous MK Ultra experiments and the use of illegal chemicals like Agent Orange. While the film is supposedly missing over 20 minutes of horrific footage that the director cut due to negative test audience reactions. Ooh, interesting. It's still one hell of a scary ride through the terrors of grief and post-traumatic stress, all culminating in some of the most disturbingly memorable visuals ever put in a horror film. It's definitely not for the faint of heart, but this one scary movie that, but this is one scary movie that no horror hound should miss. Fascinating. You know what movie is not on here that I watched for the first time not that long ago that I absolutely really loved was also Capricorn 1. Capricorn 1 basically takes the idea of the moon landing being faked and does it with going to Mars. I think it's Mars, if I'm not mistaken. Is it Mars or is it to the moon? No, I think it's to Mars. Really cool. It's got James Brolin in it, and it's a really good movie. If you've not checked out Capricorn 1, I highly recommend checking out Capricorn 1. It is a good movie as well. So anyway, maybe we'll leave it there. That's me perusing some of the horror movie news. There's more of course that you guys can check out on Bloody Disgusting. If any of these, Joe Lynch unboxes the brand new Phantasm Sphere Blu-ray box set now available. Exclusive video. I want to check that out. Definitely want to check that out. Anyway, let's go to the chat room and see what you guys are talking about. But there's some interesting stuff, again, coming to us from Bloody Disgusting. But what do you guys have to say? Definitely some super chats did come in. I know that. Did one come in or two? I see two here. Super chat from Daniel Hirel sends in $4.99, says, "My man Dave, I got to tell you, I'm loving the true crime videos you've been doing. Very interesting. Keep up the great work. God bless, brother." Well, thank you, Danielle. Daniel, excuse me. They're always fun to do. You know, they're always fun to talk about, and because obviously I have an interest in that, as a lot of us do. Let me see here. Let me scroll down. Joe Smyjohn Jr. sends in $5 and says, just saw news that thanks to fans, Manifest might have been saved for a 4th season. Netflix and NBC are in talks to bring it back. Oh, are they in talks right now? Okay, you just saw that news? Well, good. Well, this is interesting. Thank you for the super chat. Manifest is it's not a great show. It's more of it's not a bad show. I'm not saying it's a bad show, but it's more of a, it's a bit hokey. But it's kind of like a guilty pleasure. Like I love the concept. I love the concept of it. And I watched the first 2 seasons, haven't watched the 3rd season. And I didn't bother watching the 3rd season because I thought it was canceled. I'm like, well, I'm not going to invest ass to couch time when you prematurely cancel shit. Stop making so much dog shit and maybe you wouldn't have to cancel so much shit, or not just dog shit, but tons of shit. But that's what they do, right? Netflix is in the business of just like green lighting almost everything under the sun and hoping that they, and I mean, it may not be the best business model, but it's certainly a business model. I didn't hear about that. I will look into that. Is this news now? Like, I guess it must be new news because I knew that was happening like a month or so ago. And then Netflix actually decided not to bring it back. So maybe they've regained talks. I don't know. I'll check it out after the show today. Thank you, by the way. Appreciate that. Let's see here. What else we got going on? Hey, there's Cody Leach. Nice to see Cody Leach in here. Of course, an honorary mod. I have three honorary mods actually. I mean the main mods of course are Chris and Tabitha and Darren and Frank, and then I have honorary mods who are I think it's Cody, Cecil, and of course Tony Michael, which tend to pop in from time to time. Nice to see Cody in here. Nice to see you, Cody. Hope you're doing well, my man. Let's see here. What do we got? Reese Wilson says Netflix does love pulling the rug from under your feet, doesn't? Oh, it's terrible. And listen. If the ratings are down, if a show is not doing well, I get it. I just wish, especially when ratings are pretty good, instead of just not renewing it. And listen, I know it costs a lot of money. I just, the fan in me just wish, and I can't say that I wouldn't make the same business choice to just cut the axe. I mean, I'm my hands may be tied. I may have to do it. But it frustrates me that it isn't just, okay, hey, look, I know you had planned another season here or another 2 seasons. We can't do that. The ratings are down. But you know what? We're going to give you half a season. We're going to give you 6 episodes to wrap this up. It's not the best thing in the world, and maybe it doesn't end up being as good as it could be, but at least you wrap up stuff. Like, you don't just leave narratives incomplete, arcs unfinished. Like, there's nothing worse than ending something on a gigantic cliffhanger, never to know what happened. It feels so messy and tacky and irresponsible and dog shit. Like, then why are we making this? Like, why are we making these shows? Like, I just don't get it. Like, these are stories that need endings. These are characters that need their arcs complete. If you don't want to, like, at least go, hey, listen, we want to end the show. It's not doing well. We're going to give you 6 more episodes. Okay. And then the writers got to, fucking pull together and figure out some real magic to wrap up this shit. At least do that. And I've said this before, and I'll say it again. I don't watch a lot of TV, but when I find a show that I find, like, if I'm surfing Netflix and I find a show, and the premise intrigues me, I immediately Google it to see if it's still going. And I kid you not, if it's not going, I don't care how interesting the premise is. You can have words like slow burn, mystique, mystery, you can have all this shit, mood, atmosphere. If I find out the show is canceled, I do not watch. Now, if the show has been wrapped up, maybe I'll watch. But if it's been just canceled, and I discover that it was just canceled and nobody knows what happens next or whatever, I don't watch. Why would I invest my time watching in something that goes nowhere just because it's there? Fuck you. No way. No, not doing it. So, because I have more respect for myself. And listen, if you do it, that's fine. But I just don't want to take the time to do it. You know, if I see a show that the premise intrigues me and I find out that it is still going and it's maybe been picked up for another season, then I'll watch. But I don't. And there's been, I kid you not, there's been at least a half a dozen shows that I've looked into before I've, you know, and they've been prematurely canceled. And I'm like, fuck. And I'm angry because I'm like, that fucking synopsis sounded great. Ah, well, you know. Yeah, I don't do that. And you know, I say that with all due respect. If you're somebody that can, that's fine. But I just can't imagine investing time into a show, into like 3 seasons of a show. Like, imagine if Manifest does not come back. I wouldn't recommend it to anybody. Why? It just suddenly stops. What? I'm investing time for what? To just stop? Like, that doesn't make any sense. That's how I feel anyway. That's me. Movie Chat More sends in £5. Thank you very much. Says, hey, Dave, I really think the majority of Halloween fans, me included, would love to see Harris back in almost any role. She was even Annie in 07 and 09. That is true. I agree with you. I think a lot of fans out there would definitely like to see her back in any capacity. I agree with that. Jonathan Grant says, hey, Dave, have you seen Raising Cain? It stars John Lithgow, who suffers from a split personality. It's really good and dark. I've heard of Raising Cain, but I have not seen it. I will have to check that out. Let me see here. Darren says the juice in space. I have no idea what he's referring to there. I'm not sure what's going on. Let me see. Chris Baber says, didn't Kubrick direct The Landing? Oh, yeah, hey, I tell you, the moon landing is definitely one of the biggest conspiratorial conspiracies out there for sure. Absolutely. Let me just see. I want to make sure. I don't think I go back over here. Go to here. There's those. I don't think I missed any, right? I think I got the only super chats that came in as far as I know. Like when I was talking earlier, I don't think I did. It's too bad that, of course, over here is where you're supposed to see it. On the YouTube studio, for those of you that do the YouTube thing, you'll know what I'm talking about. There's a little tab that says viewer activity, and that's where all the super chats are supposed to be, but they don't stay there. And it's really annoying. Like when somebody sends in a super chat, it should just be there. It should stay there. It shouldn't disappear. And it does if you're not paying attention. And it's very, very strange. Oh, Capricorn 1. Oh, O.J. Simpson. That's right. I forgot. That's right. My God, I totally forgot. That's right. I said James Brolin, and you're right. O.J. Simpson is in it. Yes, he is. If you can get past that, he is in it, and it's a really good movie. I liked it. Again, I mean, you know, as far as movies go, it's not like it's earth-shatteringly incredible. It's the concept that's so fascinating. You know, but I will say this for those of you, I don't know, you've seen Capricorn 1, right? Right, Darren? I think you have. The thing that is interesting to me is like, I would have loved the ending of the movie, right? When he's running up to the funeral. I just wish we could have seen just a little more, you know, I wanted to see a little more payoff, like a little more, oh shit. Like we see his wife kind of seeing him, right? And then it just kind of, we see him the running up in slow motion, very cheesy, you know, 70s, but it's so good. I really wish we could have just seen, I mean, you know what's going to happen. You know, obviously that, but I don't know. I just wanted to see like, even just like a couple more minutes, you know, just to kind of have that, yeah, fuck you, you bastards. You know what I mean? Something like that. Anyway, I don't know. But it's a good, I enjoyed it. I thought it was good. I thought it was a good movie. Love the concept. Ryan Oshlow says, hey, Dave, do you happen to find Dr. Loomis and Michael Myers' rivalry in the Halloween series quite similar to that of Dracula and Van Helsing's rivalry in Bram Stoker's classic Dracula? Well, to be fair, I've only seen bits and pieces of Bram Stoker's classic Dracula. So I don't know. I am not qualified to answer that question. Frank Riker sends in $5. Thank you, Frank. Says, Dave, what is your one favorite line or moment from each Brody, Quint, and Hooper in Jaws? Ooh, that's a great question. Thank you for the out-of-the-box, different question. Well, I mean, you know, I think with Brody, it's a little predictable, but I think I got to go classic. You know, you're going to need a bigger boat. You know, I mean, I think that is such a iconic line. You know, if you had said Jaws 2, I would have said, you know, I'm telling you and everybody at this table, you know, that's a shark. And I know what a shark looks like because I've seen one up close. You better do something about this one because I don't intend to go through that hell again. I mean, that's my favorite line from Jaws 2 for sure. But Jaws 1, it's that one. From Hooper, I think it's when he says, there's a lot of great lines from him too, but the one that immediately comes to mind is when he says, I got no spit. And I remember I didn't understand. When I was younger, I didn't understand what that meant. And my dad, I was watching with my dad one time, and he turned to me and he said, well, that's because he's scared. Like, he's so scared, he's got no spit. His mouth is so dry. He's so frightened, he's got no spit. And that's a great way that's cinematic language. I mean, that's symbolism. And obviously, like, you know, if you're an adult, you might know that. But as a kid, I didn't know what he meant by that, right? I thought maybe he just didn't have any spit. No, he's so frightened, he's got no spit. He's got no saliva in his mouth. That's how fucking, scared he is. And that's a great way through film to articulate that. It's great. I love it. So I would say that's probably mine with him. With Quint, I mean, you know, it's not a line, but I mean, his Indianapolis, I should say. I mean, that speech is iconic, you know? So, I mean, that's a great moment for that character, you know, and it's a great character development moment because up to that point, he's just kind of this eccentric, you know, crass sort of shark hunter. But then you realize there's a real story to him. There's a real thing that he experienced. You know, there's weight, there's bottom to his character. After that moment, you have a newfound respect for the character. Do you know what I mean? So that was an important moment for him. So I would say that's a great moment for the character. So maybe that speech, but again, a little predictable, a little cliche. I hate being cliche. I really do. But it's great, you know? So, I'll probably say that is what I'll probably say. Maybe something like that. I mean, I love when they're singing the song, you know, show me the way to go home. I'm tired and I want to go to bed. I had a little drink about an hour ago and it got right to my head. Wherever I may roam, land or sea or home, you can always hear me singing this song. Show me the way to go home. Bum, bum, bum. Show me the way to go. I mean, it's fun. You know what I mean? And even uptight fucking Roy Scheider's character gets in on it. You know what I mean? It's great. Yeah. So those are some of my favorite lines or moments, I guess. You know, it's so hard to pick though, isn't it? Like, there's so many great lines and so many great moments from each of those characters that is great. Thank you for the super chat, Frank. Appreciate that very much. Duke Fleet says the Netflix rule is end the show on a cliffhanger anyway and pray for the ratings to be good. Yeah. Well, I mean, it's like, you know, again, not to beat a dead horse here, but there was that show that I've talked about on here before called The Society. Now I'm not their target demographic as a 42-year-old man. But I was looking for something that was kind of Stranger Things-ish. And I found this show called The Society and I watched it and I loved it. I thought it was great. And it was so well done. So well done. And they were going to do a season 2. It was approved for a season 2. But the story is that the pandemic canceled it, that Netflix didn't want to bother doing it because it's an ensemble piece. And, we couldn't get a lot of people together because, there's a lot of people. And I'm like, I mean, then just fucking shelve it. Shelve it for a year. Don't cancel it. Shelve it for a year. Wait the year and see what happens. Because I'll tell you right now, if they had just waited a year, they could have gone into production on season 2 of The Society like this past spring. We could have already had a season 2 wrapping up. I was so pissed. I was like, there were so many productions that were just delaying, and there's other ensemble pieces that Netflix has that they delayed. Why they fucking just outright canceled The Society, it fucking pissed me off. And it was a good show with a great cliffhanger, great concept, wild mystery and shit. And it was, again, I'm not the target, there's a little bit of teen angst in there, but certainly I enjoyed the concept and the premise and the performances. I thought the performances from these young actors were fan-fucking-tastic. And I really enjoyed it. And I was like, I found a show that I could get into. And it ends on this like, what? Nope, canceled. You're canceled. Yeah, but how did no, we don't care. And then I remember some of the actors on YouTube were like talking about how disappointed they were. We're so sorry, it's canceled. Oh, that sucks. Oh, we were so looking forward to going back and doing season 2. And they were ready to go. But the pandemic hit. And I remember and I know I get what she's saying, but I remember she was like, but season 1 is there. And if you ever want to revisit us again, you just watch season 1, and I'm like, why the fuck would I do that? Why would I do that? Knowing the show and the characters go nowhere. I'm just going to revisit season like this. I don't know if the dumbing down of society, and I'm not saying they're dumb. I'm just saying this idea that we as a species, we as fans, we as viewers, as consumers, to say something that is there an expectation that you can just create a show that goes nowhere, and there's an expectation that we're so stupid, we're so dumb that we'll just watch the show over again that goes nowhere? I'm just going to give myself show blue balls. I'm just going to bring myself to the moment of climax, but not actually do it. There's some enjoyment out of that. Like, what the hell? Like, is this the society, no pun intended, that we're in now? That we just create all these shows that go nowhere and we just have to, and there's this expectation, like the gall, that these, services and all that have to say, well, you can just watch it over again. It's still there. If you like the characters and you like the story, you can just revisit what we already have. Why would I do that? There's no ending. That's like watching half of your favorite movie all the time. Hey, I got an idea. Why don't you watch, half of Halloween? No, you can never watch the last half. Just watch the first. Well, you can watch the first half. Yeah, but I get to the moment where, where Lori is about to babysit Tommy and then it just ends. Yeah? But I want to see what happens. Well, you can't. But you can always watch the first half. Isn't that fun? Isn't that exciting? What are you, stupid? Why would I do that? Why? It's just, and again, I say this as a fan. When I put on my business hat, that's a different story. We can talk about the business side of why things get, canceled, delayed, shelved, and the decisions that these streaming services have to make and why they may or may not make certain decisions over others. That's a separate sort of discussion, and sometimes hands are tied and things happen. But as a fan, I just think it's so silly to say, well, yeah, but we still have half of it. Don't you want half of it? It's like, no, I don't. No, I don't. I think it's so stupid. I think it's so dumb. I mean, yes, you can leave it there, but I'm not going to go back and revisit it because it goes nowhere. I already know what happens. I want to go on. I want to see what happens next. Anyway, now that that's out of the way. Let's see here. Super chat comes in from Movie Chat and More. Sends in £2. It says, quote, if you see a shark, Hooper, swallow. Yeah, that's right. That's a good line. Yep. Definitely a good line. Craig Phillips says, Dave, my favorite lines in Jaws was, you want to get drunk and fool around? Oh, yeah. Lorraine Gary. Ooh, yeah. I also like when he's on a boat. He's not on the water, or he's not in the ocean. He's in a boat. And then she sees the shark eating the boat. She's like, Michael, get out of the water. Your father, get out of the water now. Of course, that's Lorraine Gary, but still a funny line. Michael King says, and picturing when Dave first found this out, Veda left the room. I'm not sure what you're talking about there, but I don't know. Not really sure. Reese Wilson says, each episode of the Halloween cartoon opens with Michael escaping the asylum. And Loomis is like, here we go again. There's a Halloween. Oh, I see. You're just saying, like, if there was a Halloween cartoon, yeah, you could totally do that. Oh, damn it, Michael. Here we go again. Bloody hell. I've fucking escaped again. Yeah, I hope not. I don't want to fucking see that. Hello. Simon says, hi, Dave. What do you think the cinema experience will be like 15 to 20 years from now? What would you like to see change or stay the same? Oh, God, 15 to 20 years from now. I mean, I think there's a high probability we may not even have movie theaters. Or, like, I mean, look. Streaming is not going away, okay? I mean, we could also say, what is streaming going to be like 15 to 20 years from now? You know, I mean, if we think we're still going to be watching movies on our phones 15 to 20 years from now, think again. I mean, virtual reality is a reality of the future. And, you know, how we consume our entertainment. I mean, if you think the Oasis and Ready Player One is complete science fiction, which it is right now, but like complete and utter science fiction that will never be a thing. We will never have it. You're fooling yourself. Oh, that is totally where we're going. Totally. And in many ways, you watching me right now, you're in an oasis. You're not in reality. I mean, you can look up from your phone and look around and see reality, so you're not locked in yet. But when you're looking at me right now, watching me, when you're scrolling Facebook, when you're commenting on YouTube, when you're watching a YouTube video, you're checked out, man. Right now, you watching me, you're checked out. You're in another world right now. You're in the world of social media. You're checked out, dude. Try leaving your phone at home. And by the way, I went to the zoo a couple of days ago. My girlfriend and I went to the zoo. A lot of fun. We had a great time. I left my phone. Not here. I left my phone in the car. It was great. Didn't miss it at all. If I didn't do what I did for a living, I probably wouldn't have social media. I'd have no issue. It felt so freeing just to leave my phone in the car because we didn't need it. And I didn't want to be checking it. And she had a watch on. So if we needed the time, I could just, what time is it? Just tell the time. And it was great. It was great. But this is a type of oasis. This is just the beginning, right? This is just the beginning. 100 years from now, people will look back at this time with like desktop computers and phones and YouTube and all that kind of stuff as the archaic version of where we are 100 years from now. And if you think putting a fucking goggle set on, walking on a, treadmill or what is not gonna, it's gonna happen. Virtual reality already exists. It's just not commonplace in everybody's home to connect with people, right? It's usually right now in like the gaming world and all that kind of shit. Oh, it's coming, man. It's coming. And you are in a type of oasis already. You are not in reality right now. You chatting with people right now in the chat room, me saying, hey, Frank, hey, Chris, hey, Duke, Flea. This is virtual. This is not real. This isn't reality. But then there's that line of what's reality and what isn't. It's a scary place, man. It's fucking crazy. So anyway, but the point I'm making is, or the point, or the question you were asking is, what are movie theaters going to be like? Movie theaters may still be around, but it will not be what it is today. There will have to be an evolution. I'll tell you right now, the business model is still not there. Okay. The business model is still not there to make gigantic movies, big blockbusters. Like we're talking Star Wars, Marvel, DC, movies that are like between 150 and $250 million. The business model is not there yet to release those movies only on streaming and make a profit. Like make the money you would need, right? Because remember, if your production budget is $200 million, you have to double that at least, or sometimes triple that to break even. So if your production budget is $200 million, you would have to make at least $600 million to break even. At least, right? And then you're into the profits. So that right now, movies are not making that on streaming. But until they crack that code and figure that out, now, that's also why the blockbuster at this moment might be in danger, right? Because they may have to figure out, well, we can't spend $250 million on a movie. We have to figure out how to make a Star Wars film for $50 million. We have to, figure out how to make most movies for under $100 million or under, a certain set amount in order to be able to break even and make a profit on streaming. Again, I'm giving you the Cliff Notes version, but right now, spending $250, $300 million on a movie, and you only release it to streaming, or you're dividing it up, box office and streaming, you're going to struggle, man. You're going to struggle. The box office is still where it's at when it comes to gigantic blockbusters. If you make a movie that costs you $5 million, yeah, you can make your money back and then some and make a shitload of money if you just release it streaming, right? It depends on how much money you're spending. What's the production budget? What's the marketing budget, right? What's the total? So we're going to see we are already in the throes in the very early stages of seeing that evolution begin. We're seeing that. So 15 to 20 years, will theaters exist? Maybe, but they may be just a different kind of experience, or like I said, we may see the big $250, $300 million films may be a thing of the past. Studios may have to really figure out, how do we make this for 50 million, for 70 million? It's fascinating. Like I said, I think they'll exist, but it'll be different. I think virtual reality could also be a thing in a movie theater. So like how you put on 3D glasses, you put on a headset and maybe you become part of the movie. I know it sounds very science fiction right now, but show a smartphone to a Native American 200 years ago and you're fucking magic. It's magic. It's literally magic. Literally magic. So, and technology is continuing to expand exponentially. What is it going to be like 40 years from now? I mean, it's going to be night and day, folks. What is the movie-going experience going to be like if it's still there? It's got to be some sort of virtual something that you're like in the movie or you're part of the movie, or I don't know. It's crazy, man. It's crazy. But that's what I think. Something like that. Some sort of technological virtual component to the movie going experience, I think. But we'll see. We'll see. Let's see. Super chat comes in from William McLeod, I believe is how you say that. Sends in £10. Thank you, buddy. He says, hi, Dave. Greetings from Scotland. Have you ever seen Harper's Island 2009? Harper's Island 2009 13-part TV series. I have not. I've never heard of it. Never heard of it. I have not seen it. Movie Chat and More sends in £5, says Scream or Halloween. The measuring stick is the impact on horror audiences and the slasher subgenre. Plus, have you seen The End with Reynolds? The End with Reynolds, I have not. The impact on the slasher subgenre, I would say Halloween is more influential, but it also might depend on your generation. As well. I mean, if you were born in the late 80s, Scream might have more of an impact on you than Halloween. But definitely, I think overall, Halloween was more influential to the slasher subgenre because it ushered in, it helped, I should say it helped. Black Christmas predates Halloween by 4 years. So does Texas Chainsaw. But I would say that Halloween ushered in the modern, what became known as the golden age of slasher films. So I would say that it was more influential in that sense, whereas Scream was already playing on the tropes of what already existed. It may have revitalized it, but it also revitalized it in a spoofish, quirky sort of way. You know what I mean? It wasn't taking itself too seriously. All right. I think did I get all the super chats? I think I have. I believe I have anyway. I believe I have. All right. 10 minutes left in the show, folks. 10 minutes left in the show. And then we'll call it a day. Hope you have a great weekend out there. Let's see here. Let me scroll back. Let's see what we got going on. Frank Riker says, Dave, what's your opinion on a series concluding with a movie? My wife said Manifest might be doing that if not picked up. They did that with HBO's Deadwood, which worked. I've never seen Deadwood. I don't know. That's a good question. I don't know. I haven't, admittedly, not that I recall, I don't think I've watched too many movies that have concluded with a television series or a television series that have concluded with a movie. Obviously, you can go back to MASH from the 70s, right? That was a movie before it was a TV show. But I think anyway. Yeah. I don't know. I'm undecided. I think it could absolutely work. I'm undecided. The question is, going from a movie to a TV show might work because you have a lot of, an opportunity to, now it depends on how many episodes were greenlit. But your question was concluding. So if we go from a television series concludes in like a 2-hour movie, or a movie concludes in like a 4-episode series, right? I don't know. I'm not against it. But it definitely wouldn't be a theatrical release. Like I don't see, if Manifest was to conclude in a movie, they would just stream it. It would just be a movie going straight to stream. It wouldn't be a theatrical movie. They'd just do like a 2-hour Netflix film, which why not do that in some ways? Why not do that? Good Real Hunting says, talking to Duke. I agree, Duke. We need theaters for the best experience possible. We do, but it's all relative. And the sad thing is that, babies that are being born today are growing up in a very different world than what I grew up in, and it will just continue to be that. And, it becomes normal. Like every generation, it just becomes normal. It's just a normal thing, so it's all relative, right? If you have no need to go to the movie theater, and, home theaters are pretty good. They're not, listen, I don't care how good your sound system is, how big your TV is. It's not like watching a fucking movie on a 60-foot screen with Dolby Atmos surround digital THX, fucking fill in anything else you want to add there, sound, right? It's not that. And the communal experience of being in a dark, but that's my generation talking, right? And if you're my age, if you're in your 30s or your 40s or whatever, we grew up that way. That's how we grew up. But babies that are being born today may not have that experience, may not need to have that. So they don't care. It's relative. It's like, when I get asked, somebody asked me in a chat not too long ago, maybe it was last year, said, Dave, how do you think, we would have, or I would have handled a lockdown in 1997 or something. Thank God we have the internet and we have all this stuff and we can communicate and all these shows we can watch and all that. And it's true. Thank goodness. But it's only thank goodness because we have perspective. If we go back to 1997, I was 18 years old. I don't know how any of you were, but I was 18. Okay, so let's go back to 1997. The internet existed, but it wasn't like it is today. Okay, you surf the internet to look at Jennifer Love Hewitt pictures and to send emails. That's really all you did. You know what I mean? It wasn't anything. There was no social media. There was no YouTube. You weren't watching anything online. So there was none of that. how would we have handled it? Well, we would have handled it. It would have been, because we would have not been any of the wiser of the technology to come, we wouldn't have missed it. So it's not like we would have been missing social media or missing, Netflix or Hulu or Amazon, because we didn't know that that was even going to be a thing. We would have been playing a lot of Sega Genesis. We would have been watching a lot of movies. We would have been, watching a lot of TV, talking on the landline phone to your buddies and your friends. And that would have been normal, and it would have been fine. And we would have gotten through it because maybe we would have been bored a little bit, maybe at certain times, because we couldn't go out, but maybe we could go out, depending on certain things we were allowed to do, so like we wouldn't have been missing any of the luxuries of today because we because we didn't know that they were ever going to exist. If you take those luxuries away from us now, well, then we would miss it because we have that perspective, right? It really is all about relative, it's what are our kids going to, in, let's say 30 years from now, are babies being born today going to miss the theater experience 30 years from now? Probably not, because they just didn't grow up with it. So, they're not missing it. They're perfectly content with watching their movies at home. And there's a lot of people that are like that, even today. So it's interesting, for sure. Movie Chat and More sends another £5. Thank you, buddy. Says, Dave, I'm doing a live quiz tomorrow. Cheap plug, song lyrics. I swear I left her by the river. I swear I left her safe and sound. Name the song. No idea. I have no idea. Keldon sends in $2 and says, X-Files was a big series to theatrical release. It was. But the movies, yes, it was. It was a television show. And then they made, I think there were 2 or 3 movies they made of that. But I haven't seen those movies. I've seen the TV show, but I didn't bother seeing the movies. So not really sure. But I know there are definitely a lot of fans out there of the movies. I just didn't see them. Good Real Hunting says, what are your thoughts on Your Next? One of my personal favorites. I've not seen the Your Next movies. I still have to check them out. I have not seen any of them at all. Let me see here. Dude says, we'll be AR in the near future. Basically, we'll be able to experience horror first and in our homes via AR tech. Yeah, I mean, it's true. I tell you, man, we can think that Ready Player One. I mean, there was an interview with Steven Spielberg where he said, I'm paraphrasing, but he said, the shit that we're doing in Ready Player One, because this is before the movie came out, right? He was doing the rounds. The stuff that you see in it, I mean, yes, it's in the future. We're not quite there yet, but he said, we're not as far off from that as you would think. Like the Ready Player One shit that you see is not something that's like, 150 years in the future. Like it could be in our lifetime. That's crazy. That, or, some version of that anyway. It's crazy. It's crazy. It's crazy. It's crazy. Jonathan Ball says, I can't wait for the Walking Dead movie. It's coming down the road. I have not seen one single episode of The Walking Dead. I celebrate that you are a fan. It just does not interest me. I just don't care. And then the logical follow-up to that is somebody say, but Dave, I think you're going to like the movie. Or sorry, I think you're going to like it. I think you would like it. It's really good. And I agree. I think if I actually sat down and watched it, I'm sure I would enjoy it. But it's not something that I care to watch. It's not my wheelhouse. It's not my interest. I don't care about it. Like I'm sure there are some shows that are popular that you just don't make time to invest in because you just don't care. That's me with The Walking Dead. That's me with Game of Thrones. I have not seen one episode of Game of Thrones. I don't care. It's just me. It is just me. But if you love that shit, that is great because that is why it is there. It is there for you to watch. It is there for you to watch. All right, I think I got all the super chats. I believe I did get all the super chats. All right, folks. That is going to do it for this episode of, I was going to say Two Dudes and Some Bullshit. That is going to do it for this episode of McRae Live. Thank you to my amazing moderators, Frank Riker, Tap of the Short, Darren Sands, and Chris Baber, for doing what you guys do each and every show. You guys are here. You guys work hard. Really, really appreciate it. These chats would not flow as well as they do if it was not for our great moderators. So thank you so much, sincerely. Thank you to the super chat questions that came in today, the non-super chat questions that came in, of course, really appreciate that. And folks, comment below and let me know your thoughts on some of the horror stories that we talked about early on. Give me your favorite conspiratorial movie. I want to know what your favorite conspiracy movie is and why. Comment below and let me know. I'd love to know. It doesn't have to be horror. It can be anything. But comment below. Let me know your thoughts on some of the stuff we were talking about. Are you excited for Stranger Things Season 4? Are you not excited for Stranger Things Season 4? Do you have some of the worries narratively that I do? Or are you like, fuck, I don't care, man. I just really don't care. I just want to fucking see it. Comment below, let me know your thoughts. I would like to know. I will be back, there's always a chance I'll be back beforehand, but Monday night, of course, on Two Dudes and Some Bullshit. Folks, have a great rest of your Friday. Have a great weekend. Stay safe out there, and I will talk to you soon.